Picture this, right now, above your head, there's something zooming past at 28,000 kilometers per hour. It's not a superhero, it's not Santa's sleigh, and it definitely isn't a really fast pizza delivery. It's space junk. And there's a lot of it up there, like a lot. We're talking thousands of dead satellites, old rocket parts, lost tools, and even a glove that an astronaut dropped during a spacewalk, all of it racing around Earth faster than a speeding bullet. Some pieces are as big as a bus, some are smaller than a marble, and if just two of them crash into each other, boom. Thousands of new dangerous pieces go flying in every direction. So yeah, space is kind of a mess. Stay tuned to find out just how messy it really is and whether we're ever going to clean it up.
Curious Kidcast, here we go. Ooh, yeah. Questions poppin', minds will blow. Big ideas, they're taking flight. Let's explore, feel the light.
Hello, and welcome to the Curious Kidcast. I'm your host, Charlie, and this is the show where we answer the questions that make you go, wait, what? Today's question comes from Tilly in Yorkshire, England, who asked us how much stuff have we put in space, and do things ever crash up there? And Tilly, you asked this question because you were watching a rocket launch on TV and pondered whether space was getting messy. So you wanted to know if we needed to send a giant vacuum cleaner up there or something. Spoiler alert, Tilly, you're not far off. Also, a giant space vacuum would be the coolest job ever. Before we blast off into today's episode, if you're loving the Curious Kidcast, make sure to share it with your friends and hit that subscribe button. And if you've got a burning question you'd like answered, maybe about why cats always land on their feet, or why pizza tastes better when someone else makes it, or why your parents always say we have food at home, head over to CuriousKidcast.com and send it our way. All right, let's get into it. Space. When you look up at night, it seems pretty empty, right? Just the moon, some stars, maybe a satellite if you're lucky. It all looks peaceful and quiet, like the universe's version of a library. But here's the thing, space around Earth is actually super busy, like rush hour traffic busy, except instead of cars, it's satellites, rocket parts, and yes, even lost gloves. I'm not kidding. Astronauts have actually lost gloves in space. Imagine explaining that to your teacher. Sorry, I can't do my homework. My glove floated away into orbit. Actually, that's probably the best excuse anyone's ever come up with. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing humans ever put in space was a shiny metal ball called Sputnik 1, launched way back in 1957 by the Soviet Union. It was about the size of a beach ball, and all it did was beep. That's it. Just beep, beep, beep. But that little beep changed everything. It was the first human-made object to orbit Earth. Before Sputnik, space was all natural. Planets, moons, asteroids, you know, the usual cosmic stuff. After Sputnik, humans officially joined the space club. And once we started, we really couldn't stop ourselves. It's like when you eat one chip and suddenly the whole bag is gone. Except instead of chips, it's satellites. Now, when we talk about stuff in space, we're not talking about planets or stars. We mean human-made objects. Things we built and launched up there. This includes working satellites, broken satellites, space stations, old rocket parts, tools that astronauts dropped, tiny paint flecks, and broken pieces from crashes. Scientists call all of this space objects, and the unwanted bits are called space debris or space junk, which, let's be honest, sounds like a really unfortunate band name. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Space Junk. Yeah, they're definitely not selling out any concerts. So how much stuff is actually up there right now? Well, hold on to your space helmets, because this number is wild. Scientists are currently tracking around 9,000 active satellites. That's 9,000 working satellites doing important jobs, but that's just the satellites that actually work. There are also about 20,000 large objects, things bigger than a tennis ball floating around up there. These are the ones space agencies watch very carefully, because if they crash into something, it's going to be a bad day for everyone involved. It's like having 20,000 tennis balls flying around, except they're made of metal and moving faster than a speeding bullet. So slightly more dangerous than gym class. But wait, there's more. And by more, I mean hundreds of thousands of marble-sized pieces and millions, yes, millions of tiny fragments, flakes and chips. Some of these are so small you couldn't even see them with your eyes. But here's the terrifying part. They can still be super dangerous. Why? Because space is ridiculously fast. Like, I just blinked and missed my birthday fast. Objects orbiting Earth zoom around at about 28,000 kilometers per hour. That's over 17,000 miles per hour for my American friends. To put that in perspective, that's about 7 kilometers every single second. At that speed, a tiny bolt can hit like a bullet, a paint chip can crack a spacecraft window, and if two bigger things collide, they can create thousands of new dangerous pieces. It's like the world's worst piñata party. Except instead of candy, you get deadly flying debris. I'm going to say it, worst party ever. Now, you might be wondering, why did we put so much stuff up there in the first place? Did we just get really excited and forget to clean up after ourselves? Well, kind of, but also we had good reasons. Most of the useful stuff in space is made up of satellites. Satellites help us use GPS and maps, watch TV, use the internet, predict the weather, track storms and climate change, and make phone calls across the world. Every time you check if it's going to rain tomorrow, or watch a video online, or use directions on your phone, you're using space. Mind blown, right? You're basically a space user. Put that on your resume. Some satellites are up there doing science. They study the sun, other planets, black holes, and even Earth's oceans and forests. Telescopes like Hubble and James Webb float in space so they can see clearly without Earth's atmosphere getting in the way. Space telescopes get the crystal clear view. Earth telescopes are like trying to see the board at school when you forgot your glasses and you're sitting in the back row next to the kid who won't stop talking. Not ideal. We've also built space stations, supply spacecraft and crew vehicles. The biggest one is the International Space Station, the ISS for short, which is basically a giant science lab orbiting Earth every 90 minutes. That means the astronauts up there see 16 sunrises every single day. Imagine trying to set your alarm clock for that. Good morning, again. Good morning again. Good morning, Agji. Yeah, I just give up on sleep entirely. Also, imagine trying to celebrate your birthday. Happy birthday. Oh, wait, it's tomorrow now. Never mind. Oh, wait, it's today again. Honestly, sounds exhausting. Here's something most people don't realize. When rockets launch, they don't come back whole. They drop parts along the way, kind of like Hansel and Gretel dropping breadcrumbs, except instead of breadcrumbs, it's massive chunks of metal. Some pieces burn up in the atmosphere, some fall into oceans, and some just stay in orbit as empty metal shells. And over 65 years of space exploration, those leftover parts really add up. It's like when your room gets messy because you keep saying, "I'll clean it up later," except this is space, and there's no parent yelling at you to tidy up. Although, honestly, space could probably use that. Okay, here's the part you really wanted to know about. Do things ever crash in space? The answer is yes. Absolutely yes. And sometimes, weirdly enough, the crashes are on purpose. Let me explain. Actually, scratch that. Let me explain after I process how bonkers that sounds. As space gets busier, the chance of accidents goes up. You've got working satellites colliding with old dead ones, rocket fragments smashing into debris, and satellites hitting pieces that are too small to even track. One of the most famous accidents happened in 2009 when a working satellite crashed into a dead satellite. The result? Thousands of new pieces of debris flying in all directions. It was like crashing two cars while driving at bullet speed with no brakes. Not great. Also, definitely not covered by insurance. Yeah, hi, I'd like to file a claim. My satellite just got hit by another satellite in orbit. No, I don't have the other driver's information. But here's where it gets really weird. Sometimes humans have intentionally smashed things in space. On purpose. Why would we do something that sounds so obviously like a bad idea? Usually for military test experiments or technology demonstrations, some countries have tested anti-satellite weapons by destroying old satellites. The problem is, one crash can create huge clouds of debris that stay in orbit for decades, putting everyone's satellites at risk. It's like breaking a glass bottle on a busy highway. Sure, you might have had a reason, but now everyone else has to deal with the mess. And unlike your room, you can't just shove this mess under the bed and hope no one notices. Because of this, many scientists are like, hey, maybe let's never do that again. Just a thought. Now, there's this thing called Kessler syndrome. And it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's very real. Kessler syndrome is the idea that one collision creates debris, that debris causes more collisions, which creates more debris, which causes even more collisions, until space becomes too dangerous to use. It's like knocking over the first domino and watching millions fall. If this happened in certain orbits, satellites could be destroyed faster than we can replace them, space travel could become super risky, and GPS, weather forecasts, and communications could all fail. Basically, you'd never know if it was going to rain, you'd get lost going to your friend's house, and your internet would stop working. The good news? We're not there yet. The better news? Scientists are working really hard to make sure we never get there. The best news? You can still watch cat videos. For now. So how do we avoid crashes? Well, space agencies don't just launch things and cross their fingers. They track objects constantly, predict when things might get too close, and move satellites out of the way if needed. Astronauts on the ISS sometimes have to hide in escape spacecraft, change the station's orbit, or delay spacewalks. All because of space junk zooming by. Imagine being told you can't go outside for recess because there's a rusty bolt flying past at 28,000 kilometers per hour. Sorry kids, no spacewalk today. There's a rogue screwdriver coming through and it's in a really bad mood. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Space junk doesn't just stay up there forever. Many objects slowly lose altitude, get pulled down by Earth's gravity, and burn up in the atmosphere. Most of it turns into shooting stars that never reach the ground. So next time you see a shooting star and make a wish, there's a decent chance you're actually wishing on a piece of old Russian rocket. Romantic, right? Very, very rarely small pieces survive and land somewhere, usually in oceans or empty places. The chance of you being hit by space debris is incredibly tiny, much smaller than being struck by lightning. So don't worry, you're safe. You're way more likely to trip over your own shoelaces. Which, let's be honest, happens to me at least twice a week. But can we actually clean up space? Scientists and engineers are working on it. Some ideas include giant nets, space harpoons. Yes, harpoons in space. How cool is that? Magnetic collectors, and special satellites that grab old junk and drag it down to burn up. Cleaning space is really hard because everything is moving super fast. You can't just stop and pick things up like litter in a park, and fuel is limited. But even cleaning up a few dangerous objects could make space much safer for everyone. Although I'm still voting for the giant space net, mostly because I want to see someone try to explain that job to their grandparents. Yeah, Grandma, I fish for satellites. Now here's the tricky part. We're still launching more stuff. In fact, we're launching more than ever. New companies and countries are sending up mega constellations of satellites, hundreds at a time, for internet, phones, and navigation. That's why space rules and responsibility matter more than ever. The good news is, many modern satellites are now designed to deorbit safely, avoid creating junk, and move out of the way if needed. We're learning from our past mistakes. Slowly. Very slowly, like my dog learning not to eat my homework slowly. But hey, progress is progress. So, is space messy? In a way, yes. Space around Earth is crowded, fast, and carefully watched. But it's also incredibly useful, full of discovery, and still mostly under control. Humans have put a lot of stuff in space, way more than most people imagine. And while things do crash sometimes, scientists are working hard to keep space safe for the future. Plus, unlike your bedroom, at least space junk is doing cool flips while it floats around. Alright, before we wrap up, it's time for the Curious Kidcast quiz. I'm going to ask you 3 questions about today's episode, and you'll have 5 seconds to shout out your answer. No cheating by rewinding, and yes, I know you're thinking about it. Don't do it. Ready? Let's go. Question 1. What was the name of the first human-made object to orbit Earth? Was it A, Beeper 1, B. Sputnik 1, or C. Spaceball Supreme? The answer is B. Sputnik 1. If you said Spaceball Supreme, I appreciate your creativity, but that's not it. Although honestly, that would have been way cooler. The Soviets really missed an opportunity there. Question 2. How fast do objects in orbit travel around Earth? Is it A. 280 kilometers per hour, B. 2,800 kilometers per hour, or C. 28,000 kilometers per hour? The answer is C. 28,000 kilometers per hour. That's seriously fast. Faster than the fastest car, fastest plane, and definitely faster than your parents driving you to school when you're already 10 minutes late. Question 3. What is Kessler syndrome? Is it A. a space disease astronauts get, B. a chain reaction of collisions creating more and more debris, or C. a dance move popular in zero gravity? The answer is B. a chain reaction of collisions creating more and more debris. If you said C, a zero-gravity dance move, please send me a video of what that would look like. Actually, please don't. I take that back. I don't need that kind of chaos in my life. And that's it for today's episode of the Curious Kidcast. Big thanks to Tilly for that fantastic question. Space is messy, it's busy, and it's absolutely fascinating. The next time you use GPS, check the weather, or watch a video online, remember that high above your head, thousands of objects are racing around Earth at incredible speeds, silently helping you, carefully avoiding each other, and reminding us that even in space, tidying up matters. Although at this point, it might be easier to just move to Mars and start fresh. If you love this episode, make sure to share it with your friends and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you've got a curious question bouncing around in your brain, head over to CuriousKidcast.com and send it our way. Who knows? Your question might be featured in the next episode. Just please don't ask me to clean my room. I get enough of that at home. I'm Charlie, and this has been the Curious Kidcast. Stay curious, stay awesome, and remember, space might be messy, but at least it's not as messy as your backpack. Seriously, when was the last time you cleaned that thing out? I'll catch you next time.
Hey, let your